Hey guys, it's Appleminte. Welcome back again to my channel, and happy November, happy fall. I'm really excited about today's video because I'm doing something different than my normal art style, and I'm gonna start off by showing off some new art supplies that I recently got. So let's get right into it. I don't want to waste any time because I have a lot to go through. So I want to make a video using Scrawlr box supplies, but I kind of already opened the boxes for these past 2 months. And since they happen to be two of the favorite art supply boxes I've gotten this year so far from Scrawlr Box, I was thinking it would be fun to make a video using these supplies. The reason I like them so much is because September was heavily centered around Posca pens, and you know I find those a lot of fun to use. And then the most recent month for October was centered around these calligraphy pens. So I want to show a bit of the art supplies, I want to test out some of them, and then I want to see what we can create with them. So in the most recent October one, they included this tiny little sketchbook. It is really small. And then in September, they gave us an A5 marker sketch pad, which I think is one of my favorite things because I really always need more marker paper. And this is really, really thick paper and also the perfect size because I absolutely love A5 paper. It's not too big, not too small. As you saw in the booklet, they provided us in September with 5 different Posca pens. Now I actually already own these exact colors. I think mine are a little smaller actually, let me see. Yeah, so they gave me bigger ones, which I'm not gonna complain about because like I said, I really like these pens and I really like these colors specifically as well. These are the more pastel-like ones. Whereas if you remember my very first Posca pen video, I used these kinds, which are much thinner and smaller, and the colors were a lot more saturated. But before I go into the other supplies, I'm just gonna swatch out these colors again as a reminder of what they look like. And I'm gonna use the ones I already have open just for the sake of simplicity since I already have these colors. Yes. I don't know, like I've said, I've always enjoyed using these paint markers. So it's nice to have the broader nib. I'll show you the difference between the two that I have. I don't know if you can tell, but the one on the right is definitely a lot thicker. So now that I've swatched some of the Posca colors, let's look at some of the other stuff in here. They almost always include a pencil of some sort. I don't exactly know the differences too much between these. This one is a B lead and this one is 2B, but this one's a lot softer. If I can remember correctly, any lead that's HB, like the higher the H number, the harder the lead is, but these are not H, these are just B, so they're very much softer lead. Then here comes another supply that I actually really like from this set. I think this one was October. It's a double-sided Kuretake marker. It's a brush marker, but I think it's water-based. It's very opaque on one side. The other side is like this really nice gray. I'll zoom in for you. And actually something I was playing around with when I was testing these out was I was putting down a little bit of black and then taking the other side and just kind of like blending it out into a lighter gray. I could see this being really great for grayscale artwork, and I already got marker on my hand. Fun. In this next category, we have the fine liner pens they've provided us. So both of these, again, pretty standard fine liners. And last but certainly not least, what I want to show off is these calligraphy pens, markers, whatever you want to call them. The official name for them, according to the little information paper they give us, is Manuscript Cali Creative Flexi Markers. So quite a mouthful. But I love how vibrant these look. I mean, I think it's showing up pretty well on camera. What's interesting to me about these is that the nibs of these are pretty flexible. I hope you can see that. Like, they bend back and forth a little bit. So it kind of gives you an extra range of motion. You know, I really am not a big fan of the chisel nib on my Copic markers. However, these are more flexible and they're water-based, so I think I'm kind of viewing these a little bit differently. I love how vibrant the colors in these are, so I want to swatch them out for you guys real quick.
Okay, so those are all 12 colors swatched out really quick. Like I said, they're, oh, well, there we go. That was wet and I just put my thumb in it and fun. Yeah, so because these are water-based, I think they take a little bit longer to dry. Anyway, the actual colors themselves I like. I think they're very vibrant and I'm really specifically excited to use this green. I don't know how well this green is showing up on camera. So I just want to see where we can go with this, and I'm going to come up with a concept and then we're going to get right into it.
So when I was thinking about what I wanted to draw for today's video, I was taking into account the types of art supplies that I would be using. These markers are very vibrant, and because they're water-based, they don't really layer too well. They don't blend as well as Copic markers would, so it's a different medium. So I decided that I wanted to create something that could take advantage of the fact that these markers were so bright, and something that I wouldn't need to do much shading in the traditional sense. So I decided to go with pop art. And if you don't know what that is, I'll put a few examples of that up on screen real quick for you. But in doing a little bit of research as to where this came from, it seems that pop art kind of started back in the 1950s in the UK, and it was kind of the opposite at the time from what traditional art really was. And it included pop culture characters. It was a style heavily used in comic books and also was used primarily in advertising as well. So it's a really cool art style. It's just very standout-ish, hence the name pop art, though I don't know if that refers to popping of colors or pop culture, but anyway. For my actual subject of what I'm drawing, I decided that I wanted to go with a familiar character but change it a little bit for the type of art that I'm doing. And I picked Tinkerbell because I've always liked Tinkerbell. I've drawn her before on my channel, though I think it's been a little while. And so I decided to turn her almost into, at first I was going to do like bad girl Tinkerbell, and then it didn't really turn out that way. So I just made her a little bit more modern looking in a sense. And tried to fit her into this style. That's why I changed her top. I gave her a choker, I gave her some earrings, so she's a little bit different than the traditional Tinkerbell you would normally see. Anyway, for this drawing, like I said, I want to use a lot of bold colors, and my plan is to color in everything first, or at least the areas, you know, color each of them in first, and then go in with the black Posca pen that came with this and outline everything. Because in doing some tests with these calligraphy pens and the Posca pens, and, you know, just mixing everything and trying them out on the side, I found that the black obviously smudged with them a bit. So that's why I was very careful to go in with black last after coloring portions in, because if you go in first and then use another color, it's just going to smudge, especially because these are water-based. It smudges a little bit more than it would than if it was an alcohol-based mixture here. Anyway, for her hair, I decided to make the shadowed parts the black portions and then leave any part of highlight or just her hair color kind of peeking through the black areas. And this kind of gives it more of the effect of depth without having to shade it in the traditional sense with like browns and oranges and golds, you know, shading with other shades similar to yellow. And another thing that I really wanted to make sure to add throughout this drawing was a bunch of black lines, because if you look at various pop art drawings or paintings, you'll notice that there's a lot of sketchy looking black lines throughout them to kind of signify either shadowed areas or areas that they want to look a little bit more like chiseled or defined. So it just adds an extra sense of like this style. So I wanted to make sure to include that throughout the piece, and you'll see me doing that throughout. Another thing that I want to call attention to was the skin color. And when I was trying to decide how to do that at first, I was thinking, you know, maybe I could just leave it plain white. But I thought that that would be a missed opportunity in a way. So I decided not to leave the skin white. And I was looking at the colors that I had in this calligraphy set, and I tried a few different thumbnail sketches on the side with, you know, yellow or red or blue. I tried different colors for the skin. You'll see what I mean in a bit. None of them worked out the way I wanted them to. So what I decided to do was take another Posca pen that I had that was in the same line of these pastel ones that came with the Scrawlr box. And I took my peachy colored one and decided to do the screen tone effect on her face, which is something that I was seeing a lot of as I was scrolling through different kinds of pop art and different inspiration for this piece, I was seeing a lot of people, or a lot of artwork, I guess, using screen tones for the skin. So it kind of gives the illusion that it's fully colored in, but it's not. And screen toning or cross hatching in, you know, different techniques of shading like that are a good way of almost getting a lighter version of the color that you're using to shade or color them with, because it almost gives an illusion of like all the white space in between makes it look lighter than it actually is. So you can get different effects that way, and I thought that was a fun thing to include for this piece. Also, just to break up all the bright blocks of color. I think the little dotted area taking up, you know, the center of the piece is a good break in all of that. So then behind her, I decided to add a bunch of greens. For some reason, the light green, which is actually a lime green in person, is almost showing up like a seafoam green, and I'm not really sure why. My camera is just showing it that way, and I tried holding this paper at different angles to see if it was, you know, just the angle of the paper, but no, I don't know why. My camera's just showing that as like a bright green. Either way, it still looks good on screen. But I decided to give the letters of the OMG bright colors, and the reason I added that in next to her was because a lot of pop art I was seeing had big dramatic words. Like, you know, it wouldn't be anything crazy. It's like pop or pow or OMG or wow, you know, just like little things. So, you know, to go along with the cool girl vibe I was giving her, I figured she'd be like, OMG. That's kind of what I was going with there. And then lastly, I went in and I outlined the rest of the things, added some details, and there you have it. There is my pop art Tinkerbell piece. I hope you enjoyed what I was able to create with these art supplies. This is something that's very different from what I normally do, I know. So let me know if you think it looks good, if you like it, if you want to see more kind of out there pieces for me that stray from my own style, or, you know, things that I normally do, let me know. And as always, I just want to show off this month's, and as always, I want to quickly show off October's Discord art contest winners. If you guys are aware, my Discord server, which is 13 and over, every month we have an art contest, and the 3 winners get a custom color for the month. And I also show off their artwork within my videos. So here are 3 winners. Congratulations to them. And if you haven't already checked out my Discord server, you have to be 13 and over, but we are a fun family and we're kind of crazy, but it's always a good time. So go check that out. And as always, I have all of my links in the description box below, my Patreon pin club, my online store, my Instagram, and the Discord, of course. So please check that out. And as always, I will see you guys in next week's video, Friday at 4 p.m. Eastern time. I hope you have a beautiful and amazing weekend, and I will see you then. Bye-bye.